Okay, get this. There is an object, right now, sitting in a dark basement in Ukraine that is so incredibly toxic, just being in its presence for about 5 minutes will kill you.
So what is this thing? What could possibly hold that much destructive power in a single silent mass?
Well, it has a name that sounds almost kind of boring, really. It's known as the elephant's foot, but that name hides the nuclear monster that it really is.
Yeah, we're talking about maybe the world's deadliest object. It's this terrifying, totally unique remnant of the 1986 Chernobyl disaster, found deep inside the corroded ruins of reactor number 4. It's basically a monument to a meltdown.
And what it looks like is just bizarre. It's this massive, wrinkled blob of solidified stuff. It kind of looks like melted wax or maybe the bark of some petrified alien tree. It's sitting right underneath where the reactor's core used to be, a 2-meter-wide mass made of a substance humanity had literally never seen before April 1986.
So, to really understand the elephant's foot, we have to look at what it's made of. It's a substance that was forged in the heart of a nuclear disaster, and it has this terrifyingly perfect name, corium.
Corium is what you get when a nuclear reactor goes into full meltdown. It's this intensely radioactive, lava-like mess of all the reactor's guts. You know, the uranium fuel, fission products, control rods, and all the steel and concrete that it just melts on its way down. It is, quite literally, man-made magma.
And the way this thing was created, it was a step-by-step nightmare. First, the nuclear fuel in reactor 4 got way too hot and melted. This molten mass at thousands of degrees was completely unstoppable. It burned right through the bottom of the steel reactor vessel. As it fell, it mixed with melting concrete and sand, creating this hellish substance, this corium. This radioactive lava then just poured down through pipes and into the basement chambers below, where it finally, slowly, began to cool and solidify into that wrinkled, foot-like shape we see today.
And this detail just perfectly illustrates how otherworldly this stuff is. The corium is so incredibly dense and hard that when scientists first needed to get a sample to study, they couldn't just, chip a piece off. No, they had to use a Kalashnikov assault rifle to literally blast fragments off the mass.
But that brings up a really big question, right? If this thing is so deadly, how in the world do we even have pictures of it? Well, the answer comes down to the unbelievable bravery of the scientists and technicians who went into those ruins to document this invisible killer.
Meet Artur Kornaev. This is a nuclear expert who, a full decade after the disaster, was given one of the most dangerous jobs you can possibly imagine. Go into the ruins, find this rogue fuel, and measure how radioactive it is. And he didn't just do it once. He went back again and again.
He talked about it later, saying, "We were the trailblazers. We were always on the front edge." It was a mission straight into the unknown, basically mapping a landscape that could kill you in just a few minutes.
Kornaev, who probably absorbed more radiation than almost anyone alive, he developed this really dark, grim sense of humor to cope. He would joke, "Soviet radiation is the best radiation in the world." Just a chilling thing to hear from a man who stared right into the radioactive abyss.
Now, what's really fascinating about all this is how this invisible killer actually made itself visible. The cameras they brought in captured the evidence, recording the radioactive assault right there on the film itself.
And you can actually see this progression over time. Right after the explosion in '86, a filmmaker's footage was covered in this ghostly static. He didn't even realize it at the time, but he had captured radiation on film. Then, in '89, another video is just filled with these bright white specks because the radiation was directly messing with the camera. And finally, that famous 1996 photo that Kornaev helped take is all grainy and distorted, a direct scar from the extreme radioactive environment he was standing in. And as someone commented online after seeing this footage, those visual flaws, they're not bad camera quality. That is the radiation. It's primary evidence of this invisible threat, making itself visible by bombarding the lens. But some people paid the ultimate price for these images. One of the most haunting photos was taken by an unknown Russian photographer. His entire mission was to go down there, get one single picture, and get out. The photo he took is famous for how eerie it is, but also for what it cost him. He died from acute radiation sickness just a few days later.
And that sacrifice is not lost on people today. As another commenter put it, these folks sacrifice their own health and in some cases their lives just to record this disaster for history. It's a sacrifice that deserves our deepest respect.
So decades have passed since the disaster. The elephant's foot is a decaying beast, sure, but is the danger really gone?
Well, the good news is that because of natural radioactive decay, the elephant's foot has lost some of its punch. Back in 1986, its radiation field was so powerful it could give you a lethal dose in just a couple of minutes. Today, that immediate minutes-to-live threat is gone.
But gone doesn't mean safe, not even close. As recently as 2007, the radiation level near the mass was still around 5 Roentgen per hour. Just to be clear, if you were exposed to that for just an hour, you'd get severe radiation sickness. Any longer, and it would be fatal. It is still a very deadly threat.
The elephant's foot is just this stark reminder of our power to create things that can harm us for centuries, for millennia. It's slowly decaying, sure, but its toxic legacy is going to outlast every single one of us. And it really makes you wonder, what other invisible dangers born from our own ingenuity are we creating right now?